What's up, guys? Welcome back to my live stream. I haven't done this in a long time, but I decided to, do this one more time on YouTube. Actually, the last time, guys, that I went live on YouTube for the live stream was a year ago, but I decided to do this again, give it one more shot. Um, if you don't know me, I'm Jero Serrano, and I basically been developing a game engine for a while now. And I usually go on YouTube and I upload videos sharing with you, everything that I know about game engine development. But lately, I have been wanting to also do some live streams. And the reason why I stopped is because I really couldn't find a really good format, when it comes to doing some coding live, basically because I cannot really think while I'm live. It's really hard to do that. But I decided, what if instead of trying to develop my game engine live, what if I just choose particular small issues that I can fix, where I can be, interacting with the community, with the chat, and also fixing the issues. So I'm gonna give this a shot and see how this works. If you are a new game engine developer, and you have questions on how to get started, feel free to ask me here in the chat. The plan that I have for today is basically fix some very simple GitHub issues that I have been, saving for the live stream actually. So actually, why don't I start with that? Why don't I show you some of the issues that I want to fix? And before I do that, let me just make sure that I on the right screen. There you go. All right. So as I mentioned, one of the things that I wanted to do is share with you how I work with the engine and to fix some very simple issues. And an idea that I ended up having a couple of weeks ago was like, every time that I submitted, an issue that I have to fix, why don't I tag it as a live stream, and one of the requirements for it to be a live stream issue is it has to be very simple to fix, right? Nothing too complex, nothing too fancy. Why? Because I don't just want to bore you as I code, because I tend to be, I just get into my own mindset and just start coding very quietly without talking. That's how I code. But I also want to interact with you guys, right? Answer some questions that you may have if you are an indie game engine developer and you want to know, hey, what books should I read to develop my own game engine, right? How should I start, right? And actually, on that topic, why don't I share with you my website, which is jeroserrano.com, which you can go and check out. And if you actually go here on this tab, learn, and you go to articles, you actually will have access to my blog post where I share with you everything that I know about game engine development. I share with you some projects on OpenGL. I also share with you some, if you are using Apple, you can also check out my projects that I have on Metal. I basically, help you get started, teach you as much as I can regarding computer graphics when it comes to Metal, and also OpenGL articles. And I share with you some C++ tips that will help you, either if you're a beginner or intermediate, and also if you want to develop your own, mathematics engine as a start. If you scroll all the way down and you go to projects, you're going to see a link to the 3D math engine, which I basically, share with you everything that you need to do, how to code your, your project. Actually, here I show you how to implement vectors, matrices, quaternions, etc. So feel free, to go to my website and check it out. If you are interested in your developing your own game engine. I usually also link all of my videos in my blog. So if you want to check out the latest videos that I have posted on YouTube, feel free to check them out. And again, right, I've been developing a game engine. That game engine is untoldengine.com. Untoldengine.com is the website. But if you want to check it out, and see how everything is going, feel free to go there. Hey, dude, how are you, Arlian? How's it going? How's everything going with you, man? Oh, I hope so, man. I really hope that it becomes a success. I'm working on it every single day. Uh, you know, wake up at like at 5 a.m. And try to put some work into it. It's been a long, long journey. Hopefully, one day it will become a success. So let me go over some issues that I want to fix. Again, we're gonna fix some simple issues just so that we can get this going. Oh, you were the guy with that who's 12 years old, man. That's so awesome, dude. When I read your comment on the Discord server, and I read that you're only 12 years old and that you're learning coding and that you want to develop your own game engine, I was like, holy cow, that's so awesome, dude. Like, that's really awesome that you have that mindset already at this young age, right? To know what you really want. Many people at 12, most of us don't know what we want to do when we are 12. But that's really awesome of you, dude. So props to you, man. All right, so if you have been following me, I decided to actually develop my first mobile game using my game engine. Um, and I'm gonna start small because again, developing a game and a game engine is very complicated. So the game is gonna be very small in the beginning, and there's a big reason for that, right? Number one, developing the game that I want to develop, such as the soccer game, is very complex, and it takes a really long time. So I want to start small, and so that it also gives me time to focus on my game engine. So I'm gonna be improving it. As the game improves, the game engine will also improve. Um, you're making an AA game, cool. What's the genre about? Like, what's the like the whole game about? All right, so let's see. So one of the characters that I'm actually the whole scenery, the whole game, right, is it's gonna be these characters, voxel characters that I hire someone to design for me. And everything looks good. If you have been following me on Twitter, you've probably seen videos of that game and everything. But there are some issues that I have to fix. Number one of those is the fact that these characters, if I go on Blender, and I hope you can see my screen right now. Yeah, you do. If I make the bones, the armature, visible, um, you are going to see obviously that the character is made up of this armature, and this armature basically is used when it comes to animations, right? So let me see if I can find an animation here, running animation here, right? So here we have the running animation for the character, and let me bring this up again, X-ray, boom, and you can see the guy, the little character running. Now, the problem that I noticed when the artist gave me this animation and I ran it in my game engine, I realized that there was only a limited amount of bones that my game engine was accepting. It's basically only 30 bones, whereas this armature has 56 bones. Don't ask me how this armature has 56 bones because I cannot really tell. Doesn't seem like it has 56 bones at all. Let me go, boom. But supposedly it does, all right? So when I run my game engine, let me bring it here. When I run my game engine with that number of bones, you are going to see that the animations are kind of, I don't know what's the word for it, but they don't look right? They seem like they start like, I don't know, like, you'll see what I mean in a second. Yes, I do not know how that's 56 bones from the look of it, but according to Blender, it has 56 bones. So, oh, that's cool, man. So, like, when do you plan it to have it released? Like, are you working on it right now? Like, did you start working on it? All right, so the game engine is building the game. Just wait a second. Let's see. I don't know why sometimes this takes too long. 2022, it's cool, man. Yeah, man. Making games, dude. You started when you were 9. Fuck, dude. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I started doing games, just for fun. It's like when I was like 30. And I started developing my game engine when I was like 33, 30, yeah, 33. That's when I started doing it. It's been such a cool journey, actually. I have learned a lot, that I can tell you. Um, so um, now, let's see, as it waits. And if you are new to my channel, I'm Hero Serrano, and I've been developing game engines. And I like to go on YouTube and basically share everything that I know about game engines with you guys. So, feel free to ask me anything related to game engine development. I can, recommend some books that can help you, or they help me, and I'm thinking that it can also help you. So was C++ my first language? So I started with C. Um, I kind of, I knew C, but then I decided to make my game engine with C++. So basically I had to take some time and learn C++. Um, you know, the key is that if you understand pointers in C, C++ will be, it won't be that hard to understand or to grasp. If you do not understand pointers, then man, that's gonna be a hassle because yeah, it's all about pointers. But aside from C++, I also had to learn Python because in order to export the models that you see here in Blender, let me bring it up again. And my computer's running slow. In order for you to export the models that you see here in Blender, I had to write up my own script, right? And I had to do so because Collada, right, is kind of tedious to work with to export the animations. So I decided to write my own Python script. And let me see if I can show you. My computer's running slow. This is the script that basically will export all of the models from, man, my computer's running so slow, from Blender into my game engine. So I had to teach myself Python to interact with Blender because Blender, the way how you can export the models is you need to learn this API, Blender API, the Blender Python API. And by doing that, it will give you basically the vertices, the normals, the textures, everything that the model that is in Blender is using. So you need to use that, for it to actually work. All right, so the game is actually up and running. Well, it's loading right now. So you're gonna see what's going on with the animation. You see that? That is bad, right? And the reason why is because the model has 56 bones, like I showed you. However, my game engine, I set it up only up to 30 bones, right? So that's the problem why that is happening. So the simple fix is just to increase this to 60. So I'm going to increase it to 60 for now. I do not know if later I may have to change it, to allow for more bones. But if just by doing that, the animation are going to be fixed, right? You're not going to see the whole, shaking of the animations. Which approach do you use? Because I had to write my own custom format. Again, the reason is because Collada, when it comes to animations and you want to parse the animation information, the whole data is all convoluted that you have to it was a mess from what I recall, and it was such a mess that I decided to write my own ghost format for to exporting the data from Blender. Which actually, something by doing that, it's funny, right? Because by actually me writing my own format and using Blender, I learned more about computer graphics than than what I had learned through books, right? I kind of understood because I had a visual cue of what they were talking about, right? So it's interesting how much more I learned about computer graphics by writing the Blender Python in a script. Um, a lot of things, clear up basically. Okay. Is your game engine currently like open source or not yet? All right. I actually yesterday I got interested in integrating Kling into my game engine. Kling is an interpreter, right, for C++. So I got interested. I think I want to integrate it because sometimes I want to do some simple stuff, and as you can see, the whole compiling time, takes a while, and I do not understand why. Okay, share the link, dude. Are you are you my in my Discord server? I think I've seen you. Oh, it's unusable. Okay, dude. Yeah, like even me right now, before not long ago, right? I was I was putting a lot of hours into the game engine, but lately I'm lucky enough if I put like an hour into the game engine a day. Um, my life has changed, right? So there are more important things that I have to focus on. But if I can put an hour, that's like a good day, right? For my game engine. So right now, the whole progress has been very slow, but it's alright because this is just a hobby of mine, just to keep myself, sharp, basically, right? Um, keep those that programming, um, mind going. So okay, so the game engine is coming up, and you're gonna see how basically the whole animations will be fixed. And that's not that is not the name of the game that I want to release with my game engine. That's like a placeholder. But basically, you see now like the animation of the characters are smooth now. Basically, the animation is they're idle right now, so nothing's really going on. Right, but basically that's the fix that I have to do for the bones that I wanted to fix. Let me just stop this because that's not what I'm gonna do for this one. Um, the name of your game engine is dead. That's cool, dude. Actually, how I came up with the name for my game engine, the Untold engine, is I basically was at a movie theater and I was waiting for the movie to start. And you know how during that time you get to watch a bunch of previews. Well, one of the previews, for the trailers, started out saying like the untold story of blah 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 blah, and when I heard untold story, that phrase caught my attention, and I kind of knew that's the name of for my game engine, right? So I came home, I opened up GIMP, and I literally just typed untold engine with a particular font that I found, and that was it. My whole logo in the name was basically cost me $7, right, which is the name of the movie movie ticket. So it's funny how that name came up just out of nowhere, basically. All right, so let's see. Boom. Why is this still running? It shouldn't be running. All right. So we got this. This is good. We got this. Sorry guys that my whole computer is slow. Again, for some reason, every time I use OBS, my Mac slows down like hell. So, all right. So um, let me see the status. So one of the changes that I did was to basically just modify this. And if you see here, I have a bunch of things that I modify. And the reason is that I was working on another branch, testing out my idea for my mobile soccer game. But now I basically have included that into my development branch. So that's why you see a bunch of stuff there. So let me just do git add. So git status, clear. So we're good. So git commit and then just fixed the number of bones in the engine. Fix the max number. All right, so that's git commit. Boom, clear. Which branch am I at? 293. All right, so let me just move into my development branch. Git checkout development. And if you don't know what I'm using right now, basically my version control is Git. I recommend you to learn how to use Git. It's a tool that every developer should know how to use. If you don't know, you really should learn it. You don't have to use the terminal because they also have a GUI that is more user friendly. But no matter what you use, you should use Git when you're doing your game engine, your games, whatever. It's a must, right? I do recommend you to learn the terminal. Why? Well, because there are some things that you cannot do in the GUI that you will be able to do in the terminal. But again, it's not necessary because I'll say like 95% of the time that commands that you use for Git are git add, commit, push, check out, and pull, and that's it, right? There's some other stuff that you can do in the terminal, but most of the times you can use the GUI. So, all right, so git check out development. So I want to check out my development branch, and what I'm going to do now, basically, I'm going to merge the changes into the development branch. So I'm going to do git merge and then issue 293, and that should merge everything. Git status. Let me just clear this. Git status. So now everything was pushed into here. So cool. So we can fix that one. I increased the number of bones. Let me just put it fixed. Increased the number to 60 bones. All right. So this one is close. Boom. All right, so the other one that I want to add is this particular function to my shader. This I have not added, and so we're gonna do that because it's been such a long time. All right. Okay, let's wait for that to process. In the meantime, guys, if you want to develop your own your own game engine, feel free to check out my website heroserrano.com, and if you go to the tab learn and then click on articles, you are going to find basically a ton of articles that I've written related to game engine development. Some of them are technical articles that will help you get started. Basically, I share with you how a game engine works, how a rendering engine works as well, physics engine, how to develop your own digital asset importer. This is what I was talking about my own custom format. And I give you some, some visualization uh, on how some algorithms work. I'm a very visual guy, right? So if I see the algorithm, I can code it, right? And then I figure that there are some people, just like me out there, right? That if I share with you how an algorithm, for example, the Bunchikuda algorithm works, and you can see how it actually is computing, right? The whole value, you will get a very better understanding of how to implement it. And that's how I work. So if you notice, most of my articles have a lot of visuals. It's because of that, because I need to see it. And if I see it, I can code it. If I don't see it, I'm lost. Um, I also share with you some non-technical articles on game engine development. These are mainly things that I like to share. Like, for example, when is a good idea to build your own game engine, right? Or how hard is it to develop a game engine? I share some books for you to start your game engine. And if you want to use Apple, or if you want to learn, the Metal API that was released by Apple, I also have some projects for you, Metal projects where I share with you, give you an introduction to computer graphics, and then, I share with you some projects on how to render 3D objects. I also have OpenGL. I no longer use OpenGL in my game engine. Actually, it's the last time I used OpenGL was in 2015. So to be honest with you, I'm a little rusty when it comes to OpenGL. Well, not little, so a lot, because I haven't used it in a long time. But either way, I have this project for you. I'm sure they will be helpful. Some C++ articles that you can check out, and some tips that I have gathered over the development of my game engine, and also design patterns. And also, if you go to if you go to resource and you want to you know check out some OpenGL code snippets that you may find useful. For example, here I have a bunch of code snippets that I used to use when I was developing my game engine in OpenGL. Basically, the snippets will show you how to, for example, load data into OpenGL buffers, right? And here I basically share with you the snippets, right? The whole snippet, right? Or how to load data into OpenGL textures, right? I have here everything that you need to do that, right? Uh, I just a lot, a ton of, not a ton, but a lot of snippets. And if you go to projects, I also have, I show you how to use your own digital asset importer, or how to implement your own mathematics engine, right? I basically, share with you everything, right? Like how everything works. So, feel free to check out my website. Hopefully it's helpful. Everything is free, So, do I use my own physics engine? Yes, I ended up developing my own physics engine in my game engine. Now, when it comes to physics engine, the most complicated component is the collision detection system. That is so complicated to develop. Yeah, it took me almost a year to develop it. Uh, there's so much that you need to understand, and it was very, I mean, let's just say that I was about to just give up and give give up and start working on my game engine because of the collision detection system. Uh, it's a lot of work. Actually, most of the algorithms that I show you here in this section are related to the physics engine, right? For example, Vrunchkuda, the GJK algorithm, which is used to detect collision. I share with you how it works, and how the algorithm, functions basically. Again, this one is a little bit, uh, in theory, the whole algorithm is simple to understand, but to make it actually work, and to properly, how can I say it? Configure it properly, it takes a while, right? But you cannot just use the GJK algorithm in your collision detection system, right? Because if you have, for example, 50 objects that are colliding with each other, you don't want like you don't want to test collision on every single of those objects. You want to somehow parse which objects are most likely to collide and which ones are not. So for that, you need to divide your collision detection system into two phases, like the broad, like the broad phase and then the a narrow phase. And in the broad phase, you basically parse the space, right? And to do that, you have to use this boundary volume hierarchy algorithm, which basically, like I show you here, you have like, let's say, a bunch of entities, right? And you want to parse them, right? With a tree, basically. You start parsing them, basically determining which ones are most likely to collide. And in the end, what you end up with, you're gonna have like a tree that will show you, which ones are most likely to collide. So in this case, right, the triangle and this green rectangle are most likely to collide. So these are the two objects that you will do that collision detection, basically the GJK, right? Because the GJK is very expensive and you don't want to use it on every object, only on the objects that you want to detect. And then after that, you have to once you know that that collision had happened, now the next part is you need to compute the collision resolution, right? Like you need to find out where those two objects collided, right? Like the vertices, so that you can compute the final velocity, right? And so that that for that you can use this algorithm, Sutherland-Hodgman algorithm, that will basically give you that information, like the points where those two entities collided, right? So one of the reasons why I wrote these articles is because I figured that there's going to be someone out there that's going to get stuck in this with this algorithm, and they will need some kind of visualization for it to understand it. So hopefully it helps someone. Yes, I did, but I decided to go with the GJK algorithm, and for because why? Well, because I decided to bound my objects using a convex hull, right? 3D mesh. That actually, is will, will give you a better determination if collision happened between two objects. But yes, I did try the SAT, but I decided to use the GJK instead. All right, so let's go to the next one. This one I know this has. Let me see if this is ready to go. So we can do the next one, and for that I need to bring up another application that I really like, and basically let me see, where are you at? Come on. All right, 2D rotation. So one of the things that I wanted for a long time was like this, an application where I can actually store my, some code snippets, and I found this application called Snippets Lab. It's really cool. I have liked it a lot. So if you work on a Mac and you want to have this application where you can store your code snippets, check it out. It's really cool. I think you have to pay for it though. So I do not recall if there's a free version for it, but you know, I have enjoyed it a lot. So all right, so let me just wait for this one to finish loading. Um, and let's just say that this one we're going to make it in progress. All right, so I think I'm gonna do this instead, all right? Because my computer is taking too long, and I do not like the fact that I do have other issues that I want to fix, and um, I don't want to just be waiting here, waiting for my computer to decide to build, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to fix some of these issues into one commit basically. I know you shouldn't do that, but these are very simple issues, so it's not like that big of a deal. Um, Something breaks because I can just go back and see what happened. All right, so let's just wait for this to make sure everything is good before we move on. All right. So also, I wanted to share with you the fact that I'm developing a soccer game, right? Using my game engine, and the reason why I decided to develop a soccer game is because if you watch my videos, you can tell that I love soccer a lot, and that is one of the few, you know, how can I say this? I have tried to develop games before, but I have realized that I am not a game designer at all. I really suck at making games really entertaining. I like to make tools for game developers, but when it comes to game development and making a game entertaining, I suck at it, right? So since I love soccer and I understand the game, I decided, you know what, the best game that I can make is a soccer game, right? I understand this in and out. I know it, and I'm very passionate about soccer too. So I decided to do that. Now, my strategy is that I'm going to use the same strategy that um, studios that create hyper casual games use. Mainly, what they do is that they develop a game like in a very short time, like 3 weeks to 4 weeks, and then they release it. You know, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna use the same strategy, right? Number one, I'm gonna stick to only to one game type, which is soccer, right? And I'm going to try to release my first game like in 4 weeks, right? Um, and then the next version of it will not be a different game, but it's gonna be an extension or an improvement to my own game, right? First of all, I'm gonna start with only basically one player against 5 players, but eventually I'm gonna add 2 players against five, on and on and on. Basically, because the complexity of a soccer game is, making a soccer game is really hard. It's very complex. And if I tell you that I'm gonna work on releasing a soccer game, I don't think I will be able to release a whole full blown soccer game in a whole year, because I have tried it before, and it's too much. It's a lot of work. All right, Arlene. See you next time, dude. Thanks. Thank you for stopping by. All right. So now that we know this works, let me go to this one. Add a rotate to the functions, and what we are going to do, guys. We are going to come over here, and basically in this file here I have all of my files that I use for the shaders, right? If you recall, in OpenGL, right, in Metal, in Vulkan, you have a vertex and a fragment shader, right? The vertex shader deals with the geometry of your model, right? And the fragment shader deals with the coloring of the pixel of your model, right? So basically, all of the cool effects that you see in games are, they happen in your shader, specifically in the fragment shader, right? That's where you do all the manipulation of the pixels and everything, right? If you want to change the shape of your entity of your model, then you modify your vertex fragment, right? That's where you do it. So here, basically, I have a bunch of functions that I use throughout all of my shaders. And what I need to do is I need to add this particular function, since I have been using it for a long time, but I just don't use it. I mean, I forget to add it to my game engine. So it's basically a flow 2 by 2, rotate 2D, float U angle, and that's it. This is basically the declaration for it. So let me go to my metal here, and let me put it here. All right, so basically I'm going to copy this because there's no need for me to be boom. All right, so here basically I'm just going to return this, but I need to change something here. My U angle. All right, that is that. Boom. All right. I think I'm using this function somewhere else here in the game actually. So let me bring up my shaders. I'm pretty sure I use a rotate 2D here, so I need to just remove it, or else the linker is going to complain that we have two different rotate 2D here. Let me just rotate 2D, and there's 0, nothing. See, boom, 3 matches were found here. Where are they at? Boom, this is the one that I'm talking about. I'm gonna just remove it because again, if I don't, then my the linker is going to complain. So let me see if I also have the MPI here. I should have it. Oh, there you go. All right, so we're good here. So even if I build this, that should not complain at all. All right. So like I told you, I'm not going to, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add all of this into one commit. You shouldn't do that usually. Usually one issue belongs to one commit, but since these are very small, we can work on it. All right, so that's that one. The other one that I need to fix is, since I changed much of my rendering engine architecture, what I need to do now, I need to go back and change remove that uniform model render flags, enable, okay. Yes, okay. So some of my shaders that I use are actually checking if I'm using the shadow. It shouldn't be doing that anymore. Come on. Because okay, this is not that is not the one that I need to remove, obviously, but I'm checking it here in my if boom boom, and that's the same, enable shadows. All right, so this I need to remove. I don't do that anymore, so that is gone. And the only other place where I would check that is my field shader, and that's because one of the things that I added to my engine is that you can actually all right, that is fixed. Okay. But then I should also remove the flag. So let me see. Enable shadows. Um, that should be in my render. Boom, 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 boom. Why don't we just search for it? Simple. Boom. Okay, that's not what I want. Boom, 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 boom. What do I do for a living? I do have a full time job. I work as an engineer. Um, I haven't found a way of how to make money from my game engine yet. And honestly, for a long time, that wasn't even in my mind on how to make money. I was just doing this for fun, for as a hobby. But eventually, I do want to make some money from my game engine, either directly or indirectly. I'm still, thinking about how to do that. But in the meantime, I do have to eat. So, um, I have a full time job from 9 to 5. So, all right, let me see where can I find that particular flag. That flag should be the thing that that if I didn't remove it. Uniform model render flag. Pam, 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 pam. Okay, I'm gonna have to go into my main object here and look for that because it has to do something with shadows. So set has normal. Shadow. See, when I was actually rewriting my whole rendering system, I forgot to remove some variables. Um, or not that I forgot. Sometimes you just they just don't even think about it. It's only until later on that you realize, oh, hold on, that I'm not doing that anymore. Why is that even there? Um, so before, what happened was that you would tell the engine that you wanted this particular model to actually um, render shadows, and I had a flag for that, and that's the flag that I have to remove because that's not how it works anymore. Um, so I need to figure it out. Where is it at? Where is it at? Uh, entity, should we remember entity. And this is one of the things that makes it hard to maintain the documentation for your own game engine, because you know you can follow what people say right online, or you can follow what you read in books of how to maintain your code and documentation, and you know but one thing is the theory that you learn or that you read from books. The other things, the practice, right? Once you have a huge code base as a game engine, maintaining that documentation can be a nightmare, right? Because you are, you are experimenting with your game engine to see what how to make something work, right? Especially if you are completely newbie, right? And throughout the whole experimentation, you may add a particular variable, right, in one of the classes, but then you forget about that variable that it has nothing to do with the implementation that actually worked, and that variable is there, right? It's just there, like just wasting memory, right? And documenting your engine when you are learning at the same time, it is very hard, right? It's just, I tell you this from my own experience, right? I have tried to document my game engine, as you can see, but I tell you what, there are some plenty of functions that are not documented, like that one right there, right? Why? Because at that time I felt that, hey, let me just add this, let's see if that works, if that's a good idea. And I added it, I went on to work on to something else, probably something didn't work, and I forgot about this function right here, right? And like, oh, what is that doing there? Or a particular variable too, right? Here's a bunch of them, look, right? And believe me, I have documented my engine several times, and I always forget, right? What standard do I use for C++? Like, what do you mean? What standard do I use? For the to develop your own mathematics engine, early on, actually, if you go to my website, and if you go all the way, scroll down, and you go to projects, you're gonna see a link to 3D Math Engine. Actually, let me share with you the link, so you can actually check it out. I basically right now I'm using C++11. Here's the link to the math engine, Erlen. Check it out. Hopefully, it can help you. Basically, to be honest with you, you can just follow the steps that I share with you and copy the code. It's open source. Feel free to use it. You do need to do some testing, although I didn't tested it, but do some testing. And what I'm sharing with you is basically the basics of a mathematics engine. There's a lot more you need to add, like, dude, a lot more. For example, I only show you three classes, but if I show you my mathematics engine right here, right now, you're gonna see all of the classes that I have for my mathematics engine. So here it is. You got banned from Discord? Man, what do you do? I mean, I didn't ban you. I don't yeah. All right, so let's see. Where is that one, man? Like, and once I did do a search for it. Okay, I know that's gonna be here. I know there's gonna be a one. It's not even here. Here is one. Okay, enable shadows. All right, that should be gone. Hold on. Let me see something. Git status. Get the one that I removed was my model shader, right? Let me just see this. So you enable shadows. Okay, I wonder if, I hope there's nothing else that I've been calling it. Oh man, pretty sure I probably released everything, removed everything. Okay, well, that one is gone. I one of the things that I needed to do was in my shaders that call was not supposed to be there. And basically, if I show you the diff, this one, this right here, should not be there. Um, because it's just not, it shouldn't even work. However, that brings up a good point that I need to check here. And just to make sure. Oh, see, I did comment it out. Here it is. That one was commented out. Okay, good. I did something good there. Yeah, okay, that one is gone. Cool. Because I don't use that anywhere. All right, so let's build this and let's see if that works. Right, after this, let's solve one more, and it's already 11 p.m. here. So I may have to just, end the live stream, but let's see what else can we fix here. Let me just double check that this works. Again, we didn't do anything big here, so that shouldn't be a problem. And let me see which one, what else should I fix here? That one is fixed. All right, so 291. Okay. So I'm just going to do refer to 291. Oh, 92, sorry. All right, and I'm gonna close this one. And then again, the reason why I'm doing this, guys, is because OBS is slowing down my computer. I don't want to be like, doing the whole merging and stuff like that, because as you can see, it's just like a mess right now. All right, so we fixed that one, 291. Let's do 290. So this one, initialize the variable, enable normal map to false. So basically in my, for the model constructor, I need to initialize it to false. Now, something that you need to know about C++, guys. You need to make sure to initialize your variable to a particular value, all right? If it's a bool, you need to set it to false or true. If it's an int, set it to a particular value. Because, guys, I literally wasted like I don't recall how many months, but there was this bug in my game engine that I couldn't, I couldn't fix. And the problem why I made it so hard to fix is that it happened, I couldn't duplicate it every time, right? It just happened once in a while. It just whoosh, just pop up out of anywhere. And for a long time, I tried to, spot the bug. But since I couldn't duplicate it, at one point I just gave up and I said, no, I'll forget it, right? But then it kept popping up. And so I decided to, what, I'm gonna fix this bug, man. I'm gonna find it where it's coming from. And I spent several months, literally, not just on that problem, but most of the time I was like focused on that particular problem. And I finally found the issue, right? The issue was that I had forgotten to set the variable. I had forgotten to initialize the variable, right, to 0, and that was causing the problem, right? Man, if there's something you need to know about C++, initialize your variables seriously, man, or else you are going to have some bugs that you will be like, where are they coming from? What's going on? And I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson. Yes, you wasted hours, even days, to initialize variables in C++ and the shader. Yes, man. Yes. And it's kind of, it gets you upset, right? Because it's not like an issue that a bug, a real bug that you probably, did not think it through, or did not think of any corner cases, right? Because that's one of the first things that you may think when you have a bug, right? You forgot to take into account a corner case, right? But then it turns out that no, dude, you forgot to initialize the variable, and that, I was upset. But I learned my lesson. All right, so let me work on this one. 290. Let me initialize this variable to false. Enable normal map. All right, so that one is fixed. That one should work. Um, and boom, 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 boom. You for the model. I have this variable. And enable normal map. Pop, 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 pop. Has normal. Let me put it right here so that way. Enable normal map to false. Boom. And that should do that. It should do it. All right, guys. Guess that's all what I wanted to do today. Again, I let me here before I end the stream. I refer to 292. Boom. All right, guys. So I wanted to basically, again, right? I wanted to do some live streams again, but one of the reasons why I stopped doing live streams about a year ago on YouTube, and why I don't go so often on Twitch, is because doing live streaming and coding at the same time is very hard to do. Like for me, especially because I cannot really think through a problem as I'm conversing with you guys, chatting. Um, I cannot really switch right back and forth between focusing and having a conversation. So I stopped, right? So I have been thinking about ways of how to do live streaming without slowing down my progress, but also again having a conversation with you guys, right? So I figure why don't I start doing live stream with simple issues that don't require too many neurons, right? Such as what you saw today, right? So what I did was basically every time I had an issue that I knew how to fix, and I know that it's very simple to fix, I started tagging it as a live stream issue, right? So that way I can go live and start talking with you guys. And why? Well, because I really think that live streaming, right, is all about having conversation, right? It's not about just you being quiet and coding. Although some people like that and some people are good with that, I can. And I don't really like people. I mean, like, I don't really like to watch people who are just coding, not really talking, interacting, or sharing what they know. So I'm testing this out, right, and see if this works. I hope it does work. I hope I can do it more often. But at least today we were able to fix one, two, three, four, because we had another one issue that we fixed. Four issues today. Very simple issues, but I hope that you guys had a fun. That I was able to help you, out with, you know, with the things that I know about game engine development. I'm also learning, by the way. I have been doing this for a long time, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm also learning, and I also like to learn, from you guys. All right, guys. And I'm gonna end the live stream right now. It's already 11 p.m. and I do have to work tomorrow. So thank you guys for joining my live stream. And hey, if you haven't joined my Discord server, do so. Join up my Discord server. Um, we have a lot of members, about 376 members. Last time that I checked, that are also developing their own game engines. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And whenever somebody asks and you know the answer, also feel free to share what you know. Um, all right, guys. Hey, Ahmed. Thank you. For joining. the live stream. Thank you, Colin, Saraj, Arlian, and everybody else that joined my live stream. I hope to do this again next Sunday. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.